Tennis may be one of the most demanding sports played in McKinney ISD, but the rewards are also that much sweeter. Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Tyler Sloan. Today we recap the year of tennis in the MISD with the results from both the team tennis season in the fall and the individual season in the spring. One individual won a state title this season. Who is it? Stick around and find out later in the show. But here's a hint. They won their second straight state championship. We're serving aces like always, next on Sports Talk. Right now we're talking McKinney Lions tennis with their head coach Jennifer Dixon. And coach, tennis for McKinney High, you're moving into that district this year. You're moving from 4A to 5A. Now you're playing a lot of the solid teams like Plano West and Allen that have been so dominant in tennis. What was that difference like for your team knowing that they had to elevate their level of play this year?
It's always kind of scary going into a new district, especially jumping up levels from 4A to 5A. We've had success in the past at 4A, and then it's really kind of the unknown. You don't know what you're going to have. But whenever I first started at McKinney High School, we were 5A. And then, we split with North, and then we split again with Boyd. And so these kids, they haven't seen it, but it's pretty comfortable to me. I mean, we meet up with a lot of these same teams in tournaments, because a lot of the tournaments that we play, we're going to play a lot of those 5A teams. So once we got past the shock of actually having to go in and, oh my goodness, we're playing 5A again, then the kids kind of settled down, and we went into it just like every other match. And each match is individual, and you have to go in and play it and focus on the things that you need to work on. And the kids kind of realized that as we got through the season, that you might have, instead of having the top 3 players be just really good, you're going to have top 6 be really good. So it's just a little bit deeper, and as long as you go out there and play 100%, you're going to beat just as many teams as if you're playing other ones. So
the tennis season is broken down to where in the spring you're playing the singles individually and then the doubles teams individually, and in the fall you play as the whole team trying to gather as many points as they can, Davis Cup-like style, to try and beat the other teams. And there's a lot of competition within the team to try and battle up and be the top-ranked player on their team to go and be matched up in those points positions. So what was that competition like throughout the season in practice with the team trying to battle their way to the top?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we start off early, very early in the year. I mean, from day one, we have our ladder. From the time that we set our ladder during tryouts before school starts, I mean, they're continuously playing against each other. And so they know that, if they work hard and they beat somebody on a given week, they're going to be playing that spot ahead of them. So, it's that friendly type competition that you have amongst your teammates. It's kind of, it simulates what you're going to be going into in a match. So I love it because you get that competition in practice and outside of practice as well. Then whenever you go into your match, it's really not a big deal. You're just playing somebody else other than your teammates. So I think it's a great thing to have a ladder and to have the kids work their way up the ladder. And it's like I said, I mean, they know that it's their teammates and that it's all that friendly competition, but they go at it 100%. I mean, they don't want to lose. So it's fun to see, and I think it fosters that winning competitive edge that you have whenever you go into matches.
When you go then from the team tennis season to the spring, where now everybody, you only can have two couple players in the singles and then 2 doubles teams and a mixed doubles team or 2, does that change your coaching style at all? Do you have a different mindset from the fall to the spring?
You do. I mean, the spring is completely different. I mean, because it's all about individual. You're either playing singles, doubles, or mixed. And it's a different attitude of going into it, and it's challenging. Because you might have somebody that's really good at singles and doubles, and you have to decide, well, if I put them in doubles, will I have somebody that's going to be a really good complement to them? Not only, athletically, but, they just have to be able to gel. They have to be able to get along. They have to be able to communicate, because doubles is so big about communication. And, it's really a challenge as, with myself and, Coach Chin, we have to sit down and look at everything. It's like a big puzzle that you have to put together. You know, you might try somebody in a doubles team, and I mean, on paper it looks perfect. You know, they're going to be great, and then when you actually get into the matches, it just doesn't work. So then when you pull them out, then you have to reshuffle everything else and try to figure out what your best solution is going to be. And so it is a challenge. So it usually takes a little bit, you know, once you get into the season, into the spring season, of figuring out who's going to play singles, who's going to play doubles, who can get along, you know, who can play with a girl if it's a mixed doubles, and who actually will go out and play and not just barely hit the ball to the girl, you know. And it's really, it's challenging, but it's fun too.
And when the students are, you know, learning about where they're going to play in the spring, certain ones, obviously, they may want to play doubles with their best friend on the team
Right.
and whatnot. How much of an influence do they have on trying to make those teams with you?
Well, at the end of the fall, I sit down with the kids and I talk to each of them individually. And I'd give them, what are your top 2 choices? Would you like to play singles? Would you like to play doubles? Who would you like to play doubles with? Who would you really not like to play doubles with? You know, so you get a feel of what they're thinking. You know, and then when you go from there, then we sit down with all of that and try to figure out on paper what will work out the best. And then after that, then you have to just kind of throw them into practice, see how it works there. If you need to make any adjustments, you make adjustments there. And then after that, then you actually go into the match play, and that's when the real proof will be in the pudding. You know, whether it's actually going to work or it's not, or whether we need to juggle a few things. And so, I mean, they do have input, and you know, we go throughout the season, you know, they'll tell us, hey, you know, we're just not really getting along, or, you know, hey, you know, how can I communicate better with my partner? And so it's really, it's an effort between, you know, the coaches and the players. We really work together to try to establish it. And it does get to the point where, you know, you have some kids that, I want to change because I want to play with my best friend. And then you have to be a coach. And you have to sit down and say, hey, you know, this is the way it's going to be because this is the best situation for the team and for you.
Which of your doubles teams do you think really grew the most to get together throughout the end of the season?
We had some really good doubles teams. And those were ones that I did juggle. The boys doubles teams were really good. We had Nick Shaver and Matt Rimbolt. Matt Rimbolt is a sophomore. Really has come on. I mean, he's going to be a strong player in our future. Along with junior Nick Shaver, they surprised me. I mean, they played an amazing match against Marcus High School and really showed a lot of heart and a lot of discipline, because you have to have a lot of discipline to stick to the basics in doubles and to do what play doubles the right way and not just go out and play 2 players out there playing singles. And so it was really, it was fun to see them grow as a team. Obviously, our 2 seniors, Nick Ashburn and Ryan Gaines, great team. They were, you know, those 2 teams went back and forth for 1 and 2 all through the spring. But, you know, Nick Ashburn was our captain and led the team really well throughout the year. And Ryan Gaines, I mean, he's just a great kid, really hard worker. He's another one who, I mean, you wouldn't believe how much he improved from the time he started to the time, you know, he finished off his career. It was just fun to watch him grow like that. So 2 really good teams there. You know, our girls doubles team of Kiri Chung and Isabella Orozco. Kiri's a junior. Isabella was another senior. She was a transfer over from Boyd. I mean, just a good kid and a hard worker, and just seeing how they got along and played really well. Those are the ones that really stand out in my head.
And you mentioned Kiri, she's our Scholar Athlete of the Week
Right,
here on
great
Sports
kid.
Talk this week. And what's it like coaching a kid like that that's so good not only in the classroom and then helping out their teammates, you know, in the season as well?
I mean, Kiri's just a pleasure. I mean, she's our captain on the girls' side. She is, I mean, just a great student. I mean, a great person. She's a really good player. I mean, anything I ask of her, she just goes out and does. You know, she put together our video for our banquet this year. I mean, she's just really a sharp girl. And also, not only just sharp, I mean, she's fun to be around. She's got great personality, and she just kind of gets it. You know, I mean, she's one of those kids that she's not just book smart. You know, you can talk to her about anything, and she just is real easy to talk to, and just really a pleasure to have on the team.
Now, Garrick Johnson maybe had the best season of anybody on your team. He was your team MVP. He
Right.
got out of the first round in the singles in the district tournament, the big one that everybody tries to make their run.
Right.
And he won that one in a 3-set in his first round match. How proud are you of Garrick for getting out of that first round and overall this year?
It was, you know, Garrick is one of those kids that, I mean, he's worked really hard. He's worked, you know, with USTA, you know, working his way through the ZAT tournaments, and he's got a lot of accolades outside of school with his tennis, and he's just really worked hard this year, working his way through the lineup and playing hard. You know, I started him off in doubles, and then it just didn't quite work out, and I jumped him into singles, and he took off. He took off with it. I mean, he really did well. I mean, he won a lot of matches throughout the spring with his singles, and Garrick is one of those kids you can kind of send out there, and you know he's going to give 100%. He's never going to give up. He's going to go 100%, and really, his way of playing, he kind of was one of the guys that went out there and would just hit the ball. You know, if he was playing against a player that would hit the ball really hard, he'd hit it just as hard back. And I don't know if it's this, you know, it's the testosterone thing. You know, he's going to hit it just as hard as the other guy. And he learned throughout the year that he was a very smart player, to use his brain more than the brawn and actually play the matches a lot. You know, play the guys, because a lot of the guys don't have the same strategy that he has and the discipline mentally to play the matches that he played. And so he learned throughout the year, and it really showed in that match against the kid from Boyd. I mean, he played really hard and he played smart. He didn't go for too much. He gave himself margin for error. He was, you know, took a little bit off of some of his serves just in order to get him in and then play from there and set up the points. I was really, really proud of Garrick in the district tournament.
Yeah, learning that strategy throughout the year is really where you develop most in that high school season, because a lot of high schoolers come into tennis not with really no strategy at all.
Right, yeah, and that's one of the things, you know, you have to kind of teach them, that it's not just about hitting the ball hard. You know, hitting the ball hard at times is important, because there's a lot of kids that'll come in and they've got great strokes, but they don't hit the ball very hard. It's one of the hardest things to teach them to hit hard. You know, but once you get them to that point, then they have to know how to, you know, kind of have a fine balance between, you know, using their brain and setting up the points and knowing when to hit the ball hard to go for that clean, you know, that clean winner. So. And
Coach Dixon, wanted to end with this. Of course, in 4A the previous season, you'd had Highland Park in the district, and so even moving here into 5A, you know what these tough teams are like.
Right.
It's not something that overnight happens to try and develop into a team to be as dominant as those teams, but moving forward, how do you start closing that gap?
Well, I mean, I think that, I mean, when the kids come in, we really urge them as they go home for summer, you know, continue to take the lessons, continue to work hard, play each other in matches over the summer, find anybody to play matches with over the summer, continue to take lessons, continue to play USDA tournaments, and get involved in junior development, you know, into where you're maybe on a traveling team, that type of thing. And if once they take that, if they come in with that underneath their belt, then we can move from there forward. You know, it's hard when they leave at the end of the year and then they don't touch a racket much over the summer, and then they come back and it's, you know, that first month and a half is a lot of catching up. And then we have to catch back up to zero again and go from there. So that's difficult, but I mean, it's just urging those kids to take what you have and don't lose it. You know, continue to develop your tennis over the summer. And then when we get them, when we have them at tryouts and into the fall, then we can continue. We get them at different levels. You know, the incoming freshmen, we have incoming freshmen that have never touched a racket. You know, we have other ones that have been taking lessons their whole lives. So you have to get those different players and take them and develop them from where they are, and develop them and have a goal at the end of the season. Every single player in our minds we have a goal for them at the end of the season, and you just have to work, you know, have them work hard on their own as well as in practice and in matches to kind of reach that goal by the end of the year. And as long as we continue to improve, then I think that we've achieved our goal.
And also want to get your closing thoughts on the seniors who are graduating and leaving your team. How much are you going to miss them?
Oh my gosh. I mean, these kids are great. I mean, there's so many memories that I have of these kids that, you know, some of them I've had all 4 years, and I've had their brothers and sisters for 4 years before that. And it's just, you'll never forget them. You'll never forget them. They mean a whole lot to me. So.
And that's going to be it from McKinney Lions tennis coach. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it.
McKinney Lions battling next year again in that 10-5A district with a lot of tough competition, but the team has a lot of good chemistry moving forward. This week's Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week is Kiri Chun from McKinney High School. Kiri, a junior, was a team captain for the McKinney Lions tennis team. Kiri currently has a 4.38 GPA and received the Rotary Youth Leadership Award this spring. She is a member of the National Honor Society, Rotary Club, Model United Nations, and the Interact Club. Curie volunteers in her spare time as a tutor and co-founded, along with the city of McKinney, Glamp Camp, a week-long summer camp to teach underprivileged girls life skills in a fun environment. That's Curie Chun from McKinney High School, our Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week.